let us consider this one as a unit circle. So it means to say diameter is 2 units, so the radius is 1 unit. So the coordinates of these points here, since that is a 1 unit circle, we have 1, 0. So here we have 0, positive 1. Point of intersection of the x-axis and the unit circle. Here it's negative 1, 0, and the other is 0, negative 1. It also gives us an idea, and we try to recall the signs of the coordinates found on each quadrant. And just a quick review, this is the first quadrant, the second. So pag name o paghanap ng quadrant is done counterclockwise. Okay, so on quadrant 1 we expect to have both positive signs, while in the second we have negative 4x, positive 4y, third both negative, and fourth we have positive 4x, negative 4y. Now if we have a particular angle in standard position, so it means it started from positive x, so this is y, and that angle moves counterclockwise. So let's say for example it stops here, so the terminal side can just be illustrated here. And you know already that when this angle continuously move and stop here at the x-axis, then the angle measurement is already 180 degrees, right? Now, what if you are interested to identify or to get what must be the measurement left here when you're going to get an angle measurement starting from the x-axis to that of the terminal side created by this angle in blue? Then you know already that that is an acute angle. Why? Because this is already less than a 90-degree angle. When you are going to find that all of these small angles, acute angles, so meaning to say the measurement is between the measurement of that angle is less than 90 degrees but greater than 0 degree, meaning to say that it's an acute angle, and we are referring to what we call the reference angle in that case. Now the reference angle is a very essential, it is an essential topic in the trigo, because it is through the reference angle that you can be able to identify some of the coordinates, some of the values of the 6 trigonometric functions: sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, cosecant. And when we say reference angle and non-negative, so ibig sabihin you will always get a positive, okay, value between the terminal side. That's what we did. This is the terminal side and the x-axis of an angle in standard position. So the x-axis can be here at the negative x part or the positive x part, because you are just interested to draw, okay, a particular angle, finding a particular angle from the x-axis to the terminal side of the given angle. So if the given angle is this in blue, so this in green is the reference angle. Now all reference angles, okay, we're referring must be between 0 degree to 90 degrees. So all quadrantal angles therefore have no reference angles. So in that case, we can by the definition of reference angles, we can now have two possible cases. Okay, first is if the given positive angle in a standard position is not more than 360 degrees. So ibig sabihin, hindi siya makakabuo ng one complete revolution. So maglalay lang siya sa first, second, third, and fourth, pero hindi na siya iikot ulit. Okay, so saan siya magdeterminate? paano kung mag-terminate siya or mag-end siya sa quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4? Paano daw natin malalaman ang reference angle? Mag-start tayo sa quadrant 1. Kunwari, may isang angle na nag-move clockwise, counterclockwise, and stops or it terminates at quadrant 1. Paano natin malalaman ang kanyang reference angle? Okay, this given angle theta is itself the reference angle. Remember na kapag ang isang angle ay nag-terminate sa quadrant 1 and that is not more than 360 degrees, so ibig sabihin that is just 0 to 90 degrees, between 0 to 90 degrees, then that angle itself is already the reference angle. For example, a 2-degree angle in start position is itself the reference angle. You can also have 0.5 degree is also the reference angle. If you have 63 degrees, then that's also a reference angle. Okay, kasi understood these are acute angle measurements actually, and they are understood to be the reference angles now. So what about if it terminates on quadrant 2? When the angle terminates in quadrant 2, so nandito na yung angle, let's say nag-move siya ng ganyan, nandito na siya, makikita natin na it's more than 90 degrees but it is less than. That angle is less than 180 degrees but more than 90 degrees. That is found on quadrant 2. Okay? Kasi lalampasan mo ang 90 pero hindi ka makakalampas sa 180. In that case, there exists an angle here. So kung angle in blue plus angle in green is already 180 degrees, paano natin malalaman ang angle na to? Therefore, the reference angle for all angles in standard positions found on quadrant 2 or it terminates on quadrant 2 can be found using the formula 180 degrees minus the given angle. Bakit minus the given angle? Kasi kinukuha mo nga yung natitira. Makakompleto sana niya 180 kaso mag-i-stop siya sa quadrant 2. So may matitira dito. Yun na yung isa-subtract mo siya. And to have an example to that, let's say for example we have 135 degrees. So how to get its reference angle? The reference angle of this will now be 180 degrees minus the given angle. So the answer is 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is the reference angle. Another, if you have 179 degrees, that is almost 180 degrees. However, subtracting that to 180 degrees will give you a degree. That's the reference angle. Basta hindi mo malalampasan ng 180 degrees at hindi siya equal sa 180 degrees, ay reference angles makukuha mo using that formula. 91 degrees. 180 degrees minus 91 degrees is equal to 89 degrees. So it means to say that's how easy we get using this formula for quadrant 2. So what about for quadrant 3? When an angle terminates on quadrant 3, let's say the angle here, nag-stop siya dito. So ibig sabihin, that angle theta that is found on quadrant 3 must have a measurement that is less than 270 degrees but greater than 180 degrees. Lampasan mo 180 degrees pero hindi mo pwedeng lampasan o hindi ka pwedeng equal sa 270 degrees. So a good example of that is 181 degrees. Pero ang tanong dito, paano mo malalaman ang reference angle? If you go back to the illustration here, the reference angle you're looking is actually illustrated here in red. So paano mo ito malalaman? Pag mapapansin mo, the angle in blue is more than 180 degrees. Therefore, the remaining here should be subtracted. Will be found if you're going to subtract the blue angle to 180 degrees. Therefore, the formula in getting the reference angle for all angles in standard position not more than 360 degrees that terminates on quadrant 3 will now be found using the formula the given angle minus 180 degrees. That is why if the given angle is 181 degrees, you're just going to subtract 180 degrees to that 181 will give you 1 degree. That is the reference angle. Another, if you have 250 degrees, that is obviously found on quadrant 3, subtract 180 degrees to that, it will give you 70 degrees. So that's the reference angle. 269, for example, is another angle less than 270. You're going to subtract 180 degrees to that, and the difference is you have 89 degrees. So just take a look on this formula, or you can have an illustration. What about if the angle is found on quadrant 4? If the angle is found on quadrant 4, and when we try to illustrate that, it will be like this. So here, then it terminates at quadrant 4. So the angle we're looking is the reference angle is now being generated from positive x-axis to that terminal side. And it is very obvious that that green angle plus this in blue will give you 360 degrees. So to get this blue angle representing the reference angle, we are now going to subtract the given angle in green from 360 degrees. And how do we illustrate or describe an angle found on quadrant 4? That angle must be less than 360 degrees but greater than 270 degrees. Kasi per quadrant to, no? 90 plus 90 plus 90 is 270 degrees. So pag move ka pa dito, 360 degrees. But you will not exceed 360 degrees nor equal to 360 degrees. And for example, the given angle is 330 degrees. So that is greater than 270 but less than 360. So paano mo makukuha ang reference angle niyan? And since on this illustration, kapansin-pansin, na kapag tinanggal mo sa 360 degrees yung given angle na terminates sa quadrant 4, ay bibigyan ka niya agad ng reference angle. So we're going to do that. So we have 360 degrees minus 330 degrees will give you 30 degrees, and that's the reference angle. Another, you can have 350 degrees. Remove 350 degrees from 360 degrees will give you 10 degrees. It's another reference angle. 359.5 degrees. Remove that from 360 degrees will give you 0.5 degrees. That's also a reference angle because that is greater than 0. And you can also have 271 degrees. That is greater than 270. So 360 degrees minus 271 will give us 89 degrees, and that is less than 90, and that is also an acute angle. So these are the possible cases where when the given angle is positive, so that's clockwise, and at the same time it's not more than 360 degrees. So what about if we're referring to a negative angle, and how can we immediately identify the reference angle when the given angle is a negative? So that's next. When the given angle is negative, let's say for example, definitely that's a clockwise rotation. Okay, so we have here. So nandito yung angle pero nag-lie siya sa quadrant 4. Ngayon, in this case, let's say that angle is negative 58 degrees. Going back to the definition of reference angle, it is the smallest positive non-negative angle that is between 0 to 90 degree measurement. At napansin natin at negative 58 degrees just because of negative sign, signifying that that is clockwise rotation. E nandito din ang reference angle. So sa madaling salita, itong si negative 58 degrees ay pwede na natin siyang gawing positive na. No? I-write mo lang siya into positive 58 degrees. Kasi that is also recognizing now the reference angle. Nag-move lang yung reference angle up to the terminal side, so that's a non-negative. That's also 58 degrees positive. So yun na ang kanyang reference angle. Another, kapag may isang angle, tapos nag-lie siya dito sa quadrant 3, kunwari let's say for example, the measurement of this angle is 132 degrees, and that's clockwise, so negative 132 degrees. Ang gagawin mo na lang dito, i-treat mo to as positive. Pero through the illustration, makikita mo kaagad na ano na ba ang kailangan? Ano na lang ba ang kailangan para mabuo ang 180 degrees? Hindi ba't ang kailangan mo na lang dito is just 48 degrees here? So, do you consider 48 degrees as the reference angle? Yes, you can consider that. And how can you get immediately that 48 degrees? Ang gagawin mo dito, yung negative 132 degrees, gawin mo siyang positive. Gawin mo siyang positive 182 degrees. So, tanggalin mo yan sa 180 degrees, matitira at 48 degrees. Kaya makukuha ang 48 degrees. Pero kung na-confuse ka dun, pwede ka rin naman mag-illustrate. So, let's say there is an angle that terminates on quadrant 2. Here, let's say the terminal side. Ito siya. And then, let's assign let's say that is 190, let's say 198 degrees. So what is the reference angle of that? So ang reference angle niya ay nire-represent nitong red, and since that is a clockwise rotation, that's negative 198 degrees. Gagawin mo dito, i-treat mo siya as positive, maging 198 degrees. So, since sumobra siya sa 180 degrees, yung sobra, yun na yung magre-represent sa reference angle. So, tanggalin mo ang 180 degrees. So, ano matitira dyan? It is 18 degrees. So, the reference angle is 18 degrees. And when that angle moves to quadrant 4, so let's say here, that's quadrant 4, and let's assign a value, let's say negative 342 degrees. That's clockwise rotation. And what will be the reference angle represented by white here? I-treat natin ang negative 342 degrees into positive. So positive 342 degrees. Tanggalin mo yan sa 360 degrees. So ibibigyan kanya ng, we have 18 degrees. That 18 degrees is the reference angle. So, simple lang, pag negative angle, gagawin mo lang, titreat mo siya as positive. Okay, pag nitreat mo siya as positive, ang mangyayari dyan, dahil nitreat mo siya as positive, isi-set mo siya tulad ng ginagawa ng first case. Sabi sabihin, kung yung angle na yan ay between 0, if that angle is between 0 and 90 degrees, mangyayari nasa quadrant 1. Titreat mo siya found on quadrant 1. Pag yan naman is less than 180 degrees but greater than 90 degrees, quadrant 2. When the angle is less than 270 degrees but greater than 180 degrees, quadrant 3. When the angle is less than 360 degrees but greater than 270 degrees, that must be quadrant 4. Kaya nangyari dito, kung mapapansin nyo, kung itong si negative 58, dito lang siya, kaya ititreat mo lang siya positive, yun na yung sagot. Kasi naman, 58 is already less than 90 degrees. Negative 132 degrees, treat mo siya as positive, so mapupunta siya sa quadrant 2 case. Okay, ng rules kanina, kaya 180 degrees minus that will give you the reference angle. Ito naman, say 198, dito siya sa quadrant 3, ititreat natin siya the way positive angles do. Kasi ang purpose mo lang dito ay kunin ang reference angle. Okay, so ganun lang sa negative angles. Ngayon, paano naman kapag ang given ay mas malaki pa sa 360 degrees? Okay, that's more than a revolution. Paano ang pagkuha ng reference angle? So on our second case, if the given positive angle in standard position is a multiple of 180 degrees. So ibig sabihin nito, sa madaling salita, ito ay more than one revolution para may bago siyang rules. Kasi kanina nag-set na tayo sa less than 360 degrees. Naman, 180 multiple, so 2 times 180 is 360, more than 180 degrees. So ang sabi dito, ang reference angle daw ay makukuha natin yun daw ay yung remainder. Pag dinivide mo yung angle by 180 degrees, yung remainder niya, yun na yung magiging angle in the reference angle if and only if yung remainder ay mas maliit or less than 180 degrees. Dahil kapag yan ay greater than 180 degrees, tatanggalan pa natin ulit siya ng 180 degrees. Okay? And let's see. 371 degrees. Pag yan i-divide mo sa 180 degrees, ang ibibigay niya sa'yo, ang exact na whole number is 2. Okay? Pero ang remainder niya, that is equal to 2, but the remainder is 11 degrees. At itong 11 degrees is already less than 90 degrees. Therefore, ito na magiging reference angle mo. It's 11 degrees. Okay? What about here in 460 degrees divide mo yan sa 180 degrees? Bibigyan ka niya ng 2 as a whole number quotient, pero ang kanyang remainder is 100 degrees. Ngayon, this 100 degrees ay makikita mo sa quadrant 2. Treat mo siya as found on quadrant 2. Ngayon, dahil makikita mo siya sa quadrant 2, gagamitan mo ng formula 180 degrees minus 100 degrees to give an angle. Why? Because 100 already is greater than 90 degrees kasi siya. Hindi ito acute angle measurement. Agad-agad. Kaya tatanggalin mo siya sa 180 degrees at bibigyan ka niya ng 80 degrees. So therefore, 80 degrees will now be the reference angle. Okay? Now, 603 degrees divided by 180 degrees will give you a quotient that is 3 with a remainder of 63 degrees. At itong remainder na 63 degrees is less than 90 degrees. It's already the acute angle. So ito na ang reference angle. Next, we have 924. So divide mo yan sa 180 degrees. Bibigyan ka niya ng whole number quotient. And that is equal to 5 with a remainder of 24 degrees. So, ang remainder na 24 degrees ang mangyayari, isa na siyang acute angle. So, therefore, ito na rin mismo ang reference angle. What about if we have negative angle measurements? Ang gawin ulit natin, iti-treat natin siya as positive. I-treat natin sila as positive. So, i-divide mo yan sa 180 degrees. 1,205 divided by 180 degrees will give us 6 as the whole quotient, whole number quotient. Pero ang remainder niya is 125 degrees. So, nakikita mo ang 125 degrees is greater than 90. So, hindi pa yan ang reference angle. So, gagawin natin 180 degrees minus 125 degrees will give us 55 degrees. Okay? So, that is the reference angle. Ang ibig sabihin kasi ng 125 na to, ang ibig sabihin ng 125, nilampasan niya yung 90 degrees. So, halimbawa kapag i-graph mo siya dito, this is 100. Let's say for example, this is 125 degrees. Ibig sabihin, kaya natin minus siya sa 180 kasi kukunin natin ito, the remaining, and that is 55 degrees being the reference angle. Okay? And the other example is originally negative 5,767 degrees. So we're going to divide that by 180 degrees. And the whole number quotient is 32. 32, di ba? Pero ang remainder niya ay 7 degrees. So ibig sabihin, 7 degrees already is the reference angle. So, ganun lang gagawin natin. Kapag sobra siya sa 360 degrees, i-divide natin sa 180. Kung ang remainder ay less than 90 degrees, yun na mismo ang reference angle. Pero kung ang remainder ay mas malaki sa 90 degrees, yung angle na yun ay tatanggalin natin sa 180 degrees tulad ng ginawa nito. Yung 125 mas malaki siya sa 180 degrees at yung magiging difference ay yun ang reference angle. Okay, thank you.